by. We're about to begin. Good day and welcome to the Ultimate Fighter finale and UFC 213 media call. Today's conference is being recorded, and at this time, I'd like to turn the conference over to Matt Radmanovich. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Fighter finale and UFC 213 media call. Joining us today, we have UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion Amanda Nunes as she looks to make her second successful title defense against number one ranked contender Valentina Shevchenko, who is also on the line. Additionally, we have the two men going toe-to-toe for the interim middleweight title, number one ranked Yoel Romero versus the Aussie number three Robert Whittaker. Also on the call, we have the headliners for the Ultimate Fighter finale, number 5 ranked Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje, making his highly anticipated debut in the UFC. The Ultimate Fighter finale takes place Friday, July 7th, and UFC 213 Saturday, July 8th, both live from Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Please also note, next week, International Fight Week takes over with an exciting slate of activities. Please check UFC.com for a full schedule. And with that, we'll open the lines to take our first questions.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to ask a question at this time, it is star one on your touch-tone telephone. Please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, that's star one at this time if you'd like to ask a question. We'll pause just a moment. And we'll take our first question from Jack Encarnacio with the Boston Herald.
First question for Amanda. Amanda, now that Ronda Rousey is out of the sport, do you feel essentially the face of women's MMA?
Amanda will actually be right back. She had to step away for a moment. So if you have another question,
sure.
Someone else, and we'll get back to Amanda in a moment.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know. Yoel, question for you, please. What's your expectation if you defeat Robert Whittaker as you expect to, as far as ever getting to fight Michael Bisping, now that the George St. Pierre Bisping fight doesn't seem to be happening? Do you ever expect to fight Michael Bisping?
Entonces puede pelear con Michael Bisping. No, que la expectativa es ganar la pelea. Well, my expectation is to win the fight. Acomodar el lugar, llevar la victoria para Miami. Whatever happens, and to bring that victory back to Miami. Ya después, esperemos a ver qué pasa con. We'll see what happens con este señor, con el otro señor que usted mencionó. That other gentleman you just mentioned.
Okay. Robert, same question for you. Are you coming into this interim fight expecting that if you win as you expect to, that you will be able to face Bisping at some point, and is that important to you?
Yeah, I haven't looked past July. Yoel's a hard opponent, and I have to give the fight all the respect it deserves. So my focus and attention is solely on Yoel Romero July 8th.
How do you approach Yoel Romero perhaps differently than most of your other opponents? Is there anything in particular that you need to account for that you haven't had to in the past?
He's a tough fighter. He's got a great skill set, and he's got a great caliber of wrestling and striking and mixed martial arts. And I want to go in there without giving that the respect it deserves. And, I train the way I always train. I think I've been a pretty good performance lately, and I'm just going to be me out there.
A question for Valentina. Valentina, looking back at your first fight against Amanda, why do you think you were able to win the third round? What happened there that went in your favor, do you think?
If the time it would be 1 minute more, it would be like different result. But it's passed a lot of time since that fight, like almost 1 year. I had great performance against Holly Holm and Juliana Pena, and I had great training camps for all these two fights. And now I feel in me like strong, like not one time. And I know exactly it will be new different fight with totally different result.
And what do you think about how Amanda has carried herself as champion thus far?
I don't care how she's characterizing or what she's like speaking or talking or whatever, because it won't be last more than 1 week more.
Thank you. And Justin Gaethje, you're on the line?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Justin.
Hello.
do you see yourself having to establish yourself in the UFC at all, or do you feel like you're coming in kind of at a more advanced level than a typical lightweight?
I think this, a lot of fans, this will be the first time they've seen me fight. So, personally, I feel established in the sport of MMA at, 17 professional fights. But, Michael Johnson is, he's the next level. And, I'm excited to put my skills on this platform and let, this many people see how hard I've been working my whole life.
Michael, would you say anything about someone like Justin coming in with so much experience and attention outside of the UFC and what that actually counts for in the UFC?
He's got a lot of experience outside of the UFC. As far as it counting in the UFC, it doesn't, because he hasn't faced the level of competition that the UFC offers. He's undefeated for a reason. He's a great, tough fighter, but, like he understands it's a completely different level when you get under those lights, and they do shine pretty bright.
Is Amanda back?
Yep.
Okay. Amanda, the question for you was, now that Ronda is out of the sport, do you feel like you are becoming the face of women's MMA, or are the face of women's MMA?
I'm the champion, I have to be. Because I'm proving myself. I get the chance to UFC 200, and I defend against Ronda Rousey, the most dominated athlete in this division. I think I am, and I will keep proving until finally people understand it. I'm here to stay, and I will do. This is my next step, Valentina. I will keep proving.
I'd asked Valentina about what happened in the third round of the first fight that you two had. You lost that round after winning the first two. What would you say about what happened in the third, and what that says about what will happen in 5 rounds?
Not what happened with the 30. I beat her by unanimous decision. If you look back in the fight, I beat her. It's not to talk about that fight. I beat her, and that's it. And this is the thing is our next fight, and I will not let this fight in the hands, in the judge's hands. I will make sure I finish her, and to stop this thing. Think about the 30 round. We already passed that fight, and I move forward. After that fight, I become a champion. I defend, and I will keep doing. And then my next step is finish it, and then make Valentina really understand I'm the best and here to stay.
Thank you. This is my last question, Amanda. With the UFC bringing in the 145-pound weight division, Jermaine winning the title and then letting it go, and now the Cyborg fight, how do you feel about the UFC bringing in 145 pounds? Do you feel like it takes attention away from your belt? Do you think they should be coming to 135?
No, I'm okay with it. I want to see this division go forward, and it's going to be awesome. I love to see Cyborg against Tanya Evans. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited to see that fight, And I hope this division, get stronger and stronger. It's going to be awesome for UFC having all this division. And I'm excited for it.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll take our next question from David Martin with UFC.com.
Hey, guys. First question for Amanda. Amanda, since you had that 3-round decision with Valentina the first time, you've been so dominant. What do you feel like has been the biggest difference since the first fight with Valentina that you can use in this rematch?
Oh, the biggest difference, I trained now for 5 rounds. And that fight was 3 rounds. If she can beat me even in the 3rd round tired, it's not my fault, And now it's 5 rounds. I've been training for 5 rounds, and I really stop her, I'm going to make sure I don't let in the judge's hands this fight.
At the press conference back in May, I know you guys had a little bit of a scuffle, a little bit of a shoving match. Would you say there's any personal feelings going into this fight, or was that just a bad moment in time for you?
No, nothing personal, I respect Valentina and nothing, happened that moment, she talked to me and then I don't like, and then I overreact, and, it is what it is. happen and move forward in the game, and then I will see her in the cage soon, and everything's gonna be done.
You said, obviously you've been finishing fights very, very quickly. When you look at Valentina, because she's been so tough, but do you still feel like you could be that dominant in this fight? Could you see this being another first-round finish?
Definitely. I'm gonna go to finish her. If the fight goes to 5 rounds, I will be ready anyway. But every mistake she showed me, I will capitalize and then finish the fight as fast as I can. I'm better than her every and I'm gonna wait for the best moment to finish the fight.
And a question for Valentina. As you know, the last fight was the last fight, but what do you feel like is the biggest difference this time around? Why will you be the person to beat Amanda Nunes?
This fight is like a new fight. It's new history. That fight, if it would be 1 minute more, it would be different, totally different result. Okay, she said I will finish. I don't have a problem for 5 rounds. Okay, it doesn't matter. But I feel just it's only fair that the fight will go over the 3 rounds. It's only fair and nothing more. I prepare for everything and I will try to finish her as soon as I can. I don't care about the last fight because it was 1 year ago. New fight, it will be totally new fight, aggressive fight, and I will be fighting from the first minute to the last minute of the fight.
Awesome. And a question for Yoel Romero. Yoel, you have beaten so many great middleweights, but, you and Robert Whittaker are fighting for an interim title. Would you say that Robert Whittaker is a tougher matchup than the champion Michael Bisping?
Usted cree entonces que Michael sería que Robert, perdón, sería más desafiante de lo que es pelear contra Michael Bisping. Bueno, yo pienso que Robert Whittaker está en el puesto que se ha ganado. Well, I think that Robert Whittaker is in the place that he has earned. Si él es el que está aquí conmigo ahora discutiendo el título mundial interino. And he's the one right now who's going against me for the interim championship. Quiere decir que los hechos hablan por sí solos. And that means that the facts speak for themselves. Que ha hecho bien su trabajo. That he has done his job well. Que ha sabido pasar los escalones que nos han puesto. That he has known how to go up the steps that he has had to go up. Y entonces no tengo mi cabeza la puesta en el señor Bisping. So now at this point, I'm not thinking at all about Mr. Bisping. Mi foco es Robert Whittaker. My focus right now is Robert Whittaker.
Awesome. Yoel, everyone knows you as a wrestler, but you've had a ton of knockouts. How do you think your striking matches up with Robert Whittaker, who is best known as a striker?
¿Cómo es que usted ve entonces este encuentro con Robert Whittaker, que se conoce entonces como un gran curador? Bueno, esto es un deporte de artes marciales mixtas. Well, this is a mixed martial arts sport. Y le doy gracias a Dios. And I thank God que yo soy parte de la nueva generación de las artes mixtas. That I am part of the new generation of mixed martial arts. Donde tienes que mezclarlo todo. Well, you have to mix everything up. No es wrestling. It's not wrestling. No es striking. It's not striking. No es grappling. It's not grappling. Es artes marciales mixtas. It's mixed martial arts. Aquí tienes que danzar como un lobo. Here you have to dance around like a wolf. Seguro que tienes que danzar y danzar bien. And you have to dance and you have to dance and do it well. Y así verás que entonces puedes pasar bien las cosas. That's how things are going to come out well. No es boxeo. It's not boxing. No vuelvo a repetir. No es boxeo. No es lucha. I repeat, this is not boxing. It's not wrestling. Hay que hacer artes marciales mixtas. You have to do mixed martial arts. That's it.
And a question for Robert Whittaker. Robert, you have been a very dominant finisher, but you've also had those 3-round wars where you've had to go to decision. Do you feel like there's a way this one does go 5 rounds, or do you see yourself, finishing this fight?
Mate, I'll do what I have to do. I'll go in there and I'll look for a finish. And, I'm sure he will too. But I'm in there from the first minute to the last minute. 25 minutes is the length of the fight, and I'm prepared to fight to go to war for those 25 minutes.
Awesome. And one question for Justin Gaethje. Justin, I know you're not Marlon Moraes, but I'm sure you saw his debut in the UFC. You know, he was such a dynamic striker. And listen, Rafael Assunção is a very tough guy, but of course those bright lights, the spotlight, all the things that go along with being in the UFC for the first time can take its toll. How do you think you'll adjust to that? Because it is a different animal fighting in the UFC, no matter what anyone will want to say. You know, it's always afterwards when people say it, but how do you think you'll adjust to that spotlight and kind of stepping into a main event and a top 5 guy like Michael Johnson on day one?
One sec. One more time, I couldn't hear you.
It's okay. I know you're not Marlon Moraes, but I'm sure you saw. You know, he had a little bit of a struggle in his UFC debut, and there's always that bigger spotlight when you make your debut. How do you think you're going to adjust to that? Because this is a different spotlight, it's a different animal, and you're stepping in day one, you know, against the top 5 lightweight like Michael Johnson.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited to put my skills on. Marlon, you know, he fought the same against Rafael Assunção as he did in World Series of Fighting. I think he could have given more effort. One thing I do is I go out there and I go for the finish the whole fight. If I lose, I'm going to get knocked out. I won't get outworked and lose a decision. I might get caught in a submission, but most likely when I lose, it will be a knockout, and that's because I fight the way I fight. I'm successful because of the way I fight. My timing and attitude, I believe, is the definition of what MMA is, and I will not change it. So if Michael doesn't put me down, I'm going to keep coming forward. And he said he's going to try to kill me. This was always to the death. Every time I step in there, I'm content with every outcome. So he's acting like a little insecure little child right now, talking about I'm inbred, asking me if my mom fucked her brother. So, you know, none of that means shit once that cage locks.
They did, didn't they? I knew they did.
Next, I literally, something special about when I fight is once the bell rings, I go like, I feel like I'm not even there. I mean, I'm there, but I'm not there. I've never had a thought process in a fight. I've never seen the guy's eyes in a fight. I can't recall one moment from a fight. So I know when the bell rings, I'm going to go into the life or death situation, and adrenaline's a hell of a drug. Nothing hurts in there. I'm not scared to get knocked out. I'm not scared to lose. I'm scared to not perform. So one thing I will do is perform. Guaranteed.
Michael, just real quick, Michael, did you have a response? I didn't know if you had any response. I didn't know if you voiced anything there.
No, I don't have a response. So, no, like I said, we did all our talking. We're going to fight next weekend. He just sounds like a guy that's trying to talk himself up and hype himself up to get ready to make his UFC debut. He's the only dude in the world that I've ever heard say he's going to get knocked out. Like, what kind of fighter are you to admit that you're going to get knocked out sooner or later? Like, he's already accepting defeat. It's very weird.
But you won't, because I don't feel like you think you're infallible. I'm going to show you real fast, right when that bell rings, that you are not untouchable. You're not infallible. You do go to
You're going to come try to wrestle me next weekend. I know you're going to try to wrestle me. Just don't worry about it. Like,
Jesus, you're a fucking idiot.
I'll see you next week, buddy. I'll see you next week.
How's that even an option?
I'll see you next weekend.
Have you seen me fight?
Thanks, guys.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, it's star 1 on your touch-tone telephone. Star 1 to ask a question. We'll take our next question from Adrian Warren, Australian AP.
I'd like to ask Yoel, please, what are the qualities that he thinks makes Robert Whittaker a particularly dangerous fighter?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I want to ask Yoel, please, what are the qualities that Robert Whittaker has that makes him a potentially very dangerous fighter when they get in there next week, please?
Cuando se encuentre con él la semana que viene, para ser un peleador tan peligroso. ¿Cuáles son what are the qualities?
That's right. The things that make him most dangerous.
Robert Whittaker's qualities, yes. That he's young, he's strong, that he's hungry, and those things make a fighter a dangerous fighter. You can never forget those things. And I think that the other opponents that fought with him, I think they forgot all about that.
And from the technical side, obviously, he's a pretty good. from a technical side, he's obviously a very good striker there. How wary is he of the power of Robert Whittaker there?
Eso es lo que he dicho. That's what I said, that he's strong. He's strong. Pero yeah, he hits hard. Nadie que no sea fuerte no pega. No, but there isn't a person who's strong who doesn't hit hard. And that makes him dangerous.
And how much easier would this fight be for Yoel if he can get Robert to the ground as opposed to engaging in a striking battle when they're both upright?
Bueno, ¿qué es lo que usted cree entonces que esta pelea hará? Debe ser si en vez de tirarlo al suelo, si entonces en los agarres con él durante la pelea. Se va a hacer una pelea completamente de artes marciales. We will be fighting a fight that will be a completely mixed martial arts fight. Es la nueva generación. En la nueva generación tú no puedes esperar solamente wrestling. It's the new generation. In the new generation, you just can't expect wrestling. Solamente no vas a ver boxear. You're not going to see just boxing. Solamente no vas a ver a uno bailando como Muhammad Ali. You're not going to see anybody just dancing around like Muhammad Ali. Eso no existe. That doesn't exist anymore. Si tú miras la nueva generación. No, if you look at the new generation, es una danza completamente distinta. The dance is completely different.
Thank you. I'd like to ask a couple to Robert now. Robert, this is obviously the biggest fight of your career. Are there any nerves or excitement? What's kind of going through your mind at the moment, please?
Really the same thing as always, mate. It's another fight. The last fight was the hardest fight of my life, and the one before that was the hardest fight of my life then. Every fight I go into is the hardest fight of my life because I'm literally fighting for my life in those contests. So, I go into this fight with the same emotions, same pressure as always. And, I'm just going to go out there and perform.
And with Yoel, of course, he's got so much experience, such a great reputation within the sport there. Do you have to pull all that to the back of your mind and not to worry too much about that, or do you make sure that you do pay him enough respect there?
I definitely give his skills and his tenure the respect it deserves. He's been at the top of the food chain for a long time, and I'm excited to fight him. I'm excited for this level fight, and I'm excited for what's going to happen on the night.
And since you've been over there, just tell us a little bit about your preparations and how you've been going and how it all they've differed from what you've done back in Australia, please.
Say that again. Like, what do you mean? Like, since I've just come into the States, or?
That's right. Since you've come to the States, what have you been doing preparation-wise there, please?
Yeah, it's the same thing I've always been doing, mate. I have a system that I stick to when I travel. I do all my training in Sydney, and at this point the work's done. You're not getting fit in 2 weeks. You're not getting strong in 2 weeks. You're not going to make any improvements technically in 2 weeks. But the work's done. It's just about staying sharp and just getting to that fight night 150%. Feeling fine.
And last one for me, how excited are you about the opportunity to bring a UFC world title back to Australia and what it would mean for the sport there?
I think every time I get in that octagon and I'm doing the sport well, I'm doing the sport well for Australia and for mixed martial arts. The interim belt is just, it's just an added bonus. I'm more excited than anything in the world right now to fight Yoel Romero.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll go next to Kendrick Johnson with RingTV.com. Hello, Mr. Johnson. Please check your mute button. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
We can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. My question's for Valentina. It seems like you're a bit getting revenge for that one loss. That's the only loss you have on your record over the last 6 years. Is that easy to say?
Can you repeat, please?
I said it seems to me that since the fight got announced with the intensity and stuff at the press conference, is it because you focus on revenging that loss because she's the only person to beat you in the last 6 years, or is it just another fight and it's another situation?
This is title fight. It's like very important fight, and of course, for each my fight, I prepare like for the last time in my life, and every fight I give like 100% and more from me. And this is very important fight because this is fight for the belt. And how I said from the beginning when I came to the UFC, my goal was to be the champion and take the belt of UFC. But I'm going to my target. I go into my goal, and this is very important fight for me. I was preparing very hard for me. I'm feeling very good and very good shape, very strong and very powerful. So a few days more, and I will put the very, very good show and show like best of me to take the victory of this fight and take the belt.
Does it bother you that people are looking at you as a underdog in this fight, despite that you've been rolling out people like Holly and Juliana?
Really, I don't care. Before my fights, I don't care about who look at me because I'm very secure in my power. I know what I can and where I can go, and this is what's important for me. My team believe in me. I believe in me, and I don't see any way from this fight than the victory. This is only what's in my mind. Only victory and nothing more.
And how's the headline the last two cards you've been on? How's that got you ready for this big stage, the headline, this pay-per-view in such a big setting, fight week that everybody comes to Vegas for? The headline the cards against Juliana and Holly got you ready for that?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. For every my fight, I prepare like more than 100%. To be the main event, it's a lot of responsibility. It's not means only to show good fight. It's to show the great fight and all the best from you. But the most important thing is the fight. All what is go around, it's like perfect. We are all professional fighters. We are doing our job. We are like doing well to promote our fight. But the most important thing is the fight. And I'm very focused on my fight. This is what only one thing in my mind. The fight, 8th of July, and the victory.
All right, thanks. And I got two questions for Michael. Michael, do you think the UFC is kind of overlooking you by giving you this undefeated guy trying to make his debut and make a name off of you, or does that just motivate you?
No, it's motivation for sure. I definitely don't think I'm overlooked. I'm just a guy that was available for him to fight. I'm a guy at the top of the division, and they want to test a champion in a former division, and he's coming over. As far as I'm concerned, they're almost pretty much just releasing a dog off the leash and telling him to go get this newcomer that's coming in our yard. So, man, they're behind me 100%, I feel like.
Got you. And Damon kind of touched earlier. Do you think the animosity is he kind of thinks like this is a game and that you're about that life, or he doesn't see what's going to happen? Because it's been kind of funny watching y'all go back and forth. Is that just part of the build it up, or is it something that you're going to let him know, like, this you for real?
Man, like I said, there's no build up, man. The talking was all done. That's just to sell tickets and get people interested in the fight. I have no ill harm. I don't hate the guy, you know what I'm saying? I just like get under his skin a little bit because he makes it so easy for me. But at the same time, next weekend, there's going to be no words exchanged. There's going to be no talking. We're just going to go in there and fight.
And final question for me, of course you want to win. Would it be just from a mental standpoint, a big deal getting the win, getting your first win since 2015?
Who, me?
Yeah.
2006, my last win was Dustin, and then I lost.
The Poirier fight.
Yeah. It's a statement fight for me. I got to come in here, and I just got to get that bad taste out of my mouth from the Khabib fight. I wasn't comfortable in that fight at all, and I lost myself in there. So I got to come out here. I got to put in a statement, and the way the division is now, I need to go out here and get a dominant win to make a strong case for a title shot. Because as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a champion in this division. Kind of signed that fight to box Floyd, and my hat's off to him. That's a great feat and accomplishment. But he's not an MMA fighter anymore. He's a boxer now, so we don't have a chance as far as I'm concerned.
Thanks, Mike. Who you think will win that fight?
My honest opinion, I could give two fucks who wins that fight.
Good luck to everybody.
We'll take our next question from Alexander Lee with the score.
Hi, guys. I have just one question for Justin and a couple of questions for Amanda and Valentina. Justin, I just want to ask, you're coming from a promotion where you were the champ, obviously. Does it bother you at all that right now there doesn't seem to be a clear line to a lightweight title shot in the UFC, assuming that is a long-term goal of yours?
Not necessarily. I fight for money. If you want to make money in the sport, you got to be excited. You got to put your max effort in. So it doesn't matter who I'm fighting. Especially the fact that I'm gonna be fighting the best in the world right now. Michael Johnson, number 5 in the world right now. All I gotta do is perform. I get paid. I get paid the same if I win this fight and get. I don't get paid no more if I fight for a belt than I will if I get a win here and get a bonus. So I'm here for the money. I'm here for the pride, the glory. And I'm here to meet my equal. So I don't think Michael's that man, but if he is, he'll get a high five at the end.
What about the leverage that comes with having a title? Does that concern you? Again, like you said, you do fight for money, but having a title generally should come with more, give you a little more power at the negotiating table, and as far as being able to call people out, does that matter to you?
No, I think if a fighter is getting paid in the sport, it should be because of their effort, and that's what I'm proving right now. My personality is not larger than life when I'm talking to you, but when I get in the cage, I am larger than life. I guarantee it. I'm not scared to lose. The guy said I'm not about that life. I am about that life. I'm not scared of any outcome. I'm scared of being outworked. Michael's been outworked many times, and he will not outwork me. Not possible.
Okay, thank you, Justin. And for Amanda and Valentina, first for Amanda, I want to ask, you've been part of... Sorry, Amanda's still there, correct?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hi, Amanda. Okay. You've been part of some huge cards, UFC 196 with McGregor, Nate Diaz, and then you headlined both UFC 200 and UFC 207, and those cards had a lot of big names, McGregor, Rousey, Brock Lesnar, and you fought Miesha Tate. This might be, this is kind of UFC 213, the first card where you're the big focus. Is there any extra pressure for you to try and, match those other events?
No, it's no pressure at all. Actually, my two last fights making me very strong for these moments, The 200 was huge because everything changed in the last weekend, and I take everything very smooth, and I was the main event against Miesha, and was everything good for me. And right after it was against Ronda Rousey, and it was huge, That moment in my life helped me to get strong and get strong to go through in my next step is this fight, and it's going to be everything smooth, exactly like it was my true life fight.
Thanks, Amanda. And just a sort of a similar question to Valentina, you also have main evented sort of your last two cards, high-profile cards on Fox. Do you think at all about, in the future, sort of what kind of audience you can bring in, how the UFC can market you, especially since you have roots in Russia and Peru, which are two places I'm sure the UFC wouldn't mind heading to. So is that a concern, expanding your audience at all?
I fight in martial arts. For me, it's not only to think about how UFC can promote or something like this. Martial arts for me, it's my life. I do martial arts more than 20 years. I dedicate it all my life. So it's for me not only sport. Martial arts is my lifestyle, my philosophy, and of course I'm fighting for my countries. And my countries is Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Peru, and all people around the world supporting me. They every day writing me and sending best wishes, sending good luck. And I have a lot of power with their energy. So I prepared like no one time. I'm really prepared for this fight, and I don't care like anything. But for me, most important the fight and the victory. I know exactly what is my power. I know exactly what I can do, and I will try to finish Amanda as soon as I can. And I don't care about I don't think how the fight will finish or something like this, because I'm prepared for everything. I prepare from small things to the biggest things, and of course I will put all my heart on the fight. I will give my 150% to take the victory and to show the good fight and a good show.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
And that does conclude the question and answer session. Mr. Rajmanovic, I'd like to turn the call over to you for any closing remarks.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our speakers today, the competitors that'll be squaring off at the Ultimate Fighter finale and UFC 213 next week. Just a reminder, great slate of activities for International Fight Week. Make sure to check them out, and we'll see everybody in Vegas starting next week. Thank you.
This does conclude today's conference. We appreciate your participation.